high ground as champions of women in the workforce until they're involved. Well, the latest example comes via Hillary Clinton, who had this to say about her husband's affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky.
In retrospect, do you think Bill should have resigned in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
It wasn't an abuse of power?
No, no.
There are people who look at the incidents of the 90s and they say a president of the United States cannot have a consensual relationship with an intern. The power imbalance is too great.
Who was an adult.
What happened to feminism? Joining us for a debate, Monica Crowley is a senior opinion columnist for the Washington Times, and Dee Dawkins-Hagler, former chair of the Georgia Legislative Women's Caucus. Monica, let's start with you. Bill Clinton was 49 years old, of course, president of the most powerful country on earth. Monica Lewinsky, in her own words, it was her first job out of college. But Hillary Clinton thinks there was no power differential that negated consent of any type. Isn't that a big leap from what feminists used to believe?
Absolutely, Laura. I mean, look, the Clinton-Lewinsky affair was textbook abuse of power, textbook. And the fact that Mrs. Clinton, given the new context of the Me Too movement and this whole new environment culturally and politically in which we are in, the fact that she would claim that it wasn't abuse of power because Ms. Lewinsky was a, quote, adult at 22, it is so epically tone deaf that it shows yet another reason why she lost this election. The fact that she cannot process, even all of these years later, what her husband did. And it wasn't just the affair with Monica Lewinsky, but the subsequent perjury and obstruction of justice, which is what he was impeached for. The fact that she still can't process this and be honest with the American people and herself about it is staggering.
Dee, not to speak of what Hillary Clinton did to Juanita Broderick after she brought her own concern about the way Bill Clinton, in her words, raped her. Hillary Clinton, according to Juanita Broderick, basically squeezed her hand hard and said, "Thank you for all the help and support you've given my husband," and held on just a little too long. But Hillary Clinton today says, I guess this was all okay because by any means necessary, get power and keep power. How is that feminism, though? I'm confused about what feminism even means anymore.
Well, thank you for having me on, Laura. So basically, Hillary Clinton was right in her assessment. It was consensual. It was two adults who decided to be together. Now, Bill Clinton, was it the right decision? No, but you cannot regulate morality. And so illegal does not always equate to something that is immoral. So, and her squeezing someone's hand, maybe she was just trying to process it all. I believe that every woman's voice needs to be heard, but at the same time, there needs to be processes in place so that everyone gets the right to be able to say what they need to say, which didn't happen in this Kavanaugh case. I mean, because there were several women who said that they had been assaulted and they never got the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, well, obviously the country is wildly, I think, tired of bringing up stuff from 36 years ago where there is literally no contemporaneous corroboration. But Dee, I want to get back to the question at hand. This is the exertion of power and a power differential between an adult man who is the head of the most important, most powerful nation on earth with an intern. How, as a feminist, do you say that that is legitimate consent? How is that consent when you're the president of the United States and she's a low-level intern with her first job with no experience at all in the workplace? I mean, I'm not saying she has no responsibility, but I'm talking about what feminism has been about, what the leaders of the feminist movement from the 60s on out have written and thought about true and valid consent.
Well, feminism in itself says that a woman has a right to decide and dictate what she does with her body. So it doesn't limit her because she's 22 years old to make an adult decision. When I was 22, I had 2 children working a full-time job, and I watched a lot of women climb to the top because
Monica Lewinsky's life was hurt. I won't say it's ruined because every life is worth a lot in the eyes of God, but where did she go after that? What kind of life did she have? Bill Clinton went on to make speeches for $500,000 a pop, Monica. Let's
Still
go
is.
to Monica Crowley, not Monica Lewinsky, Monica Crowley. So
Yeah.
he went on to be the toast of the global society. And poor Monica Lewinsky's led to be always called the woman who with the blue dress.
Yeah,
That's why the power differential matters. That's why these feminists today are total frauds for continuing to prop this up.
Well, that's right, Lauren. You're pointing to a really important dynamic. The feminist movement was supposed to be affording all women the opportunity to make their own choices, whether to get an education or go to work or stay home with their children, right? But over time, it became such a politically charged movement of the left that they began applying the double standard. So the Democrats are all for Me Too unless and until it hits one of their own, like Keith Ellison or like Bill Clinton, in which case, 25 years ago, however long it was, they circled the wagons around Bill Clinton because he was right on the issues, particularly on abortion.
All right,
so
ladies,
they did
well,
everything they could to
different.
protect
Yeah,
him.
ladies, I have one more issue.
Under the bus.
Okay, we got to leave this issue. I want to get your thoughts, Dee, on another issue. The left, I don't think, was satisfied with attacking, white privilege for white male privilege. The left is now accusing white women of benefiting from patriarchy power. You can't make this stuff up. Let's take a look.
There have always been incentives on the table for white women who benefit in a white patriarchy via white supremacy and their proximal power via white men in upholding a fundamentally conservative white patriarchal power structure. White women have historically voted conservatively and on behalf of the white men to whom they are attached.
Dee, quickly, your response.
And I totally agree with that, because many white women have been complicit in the behavior of patriarchal white men because they are able to drive nice cars, live in nice houses, and so they will be quiet. Hence, you see Ivanka and Melania Trump not really speaking up or saying what they need to say about the president, who's also been accused by 22 different women
Monica,
of sexual assault, speaking up.
Okay, all right, Monica, your quick response.
You want to know what this is really all about, Laura? Donald Trump ran very strong among white women voters in 2016. He won a majority of them. He is still running strong among white women voters. So this is intended to leverage white female voters away from the GOP conservatism and
It's all about power and getting power back. All right, fantastic segment. The Antifa mob creates continued chaos in Portland while local officials sitting on their hands. A counter-protester who was there and took on Antifa just moments away.
Barrier caboose.
Now, what happens in a major metropolitan city when leftist policies let police take a hands-off approach? Well, what happens is violence, destruction, and innocent people getting hurt. That's what's happening right now in Portland, Oregon. Police stood idly by and let this happen. Now, instead of confronting violent protesters, we shouldn't call them protesters, violent thugs, cops are succumbing to leftist leaders and backing off, leaving ordinary Americans scared and unprotected. Joining us now from Portland is one of the organizers of last week's counter-protest, Joey Gibson. He's also the founder of Patriot Prayer. Joey, did your group, I know you were arrested at one point back in, I guess it was in May, for didn't you carry a gun at one of the events at University of Washington campus, or a couple of your guys did? You were arrested for that. But did your group
No, we were detained.
What's that?
We were detained for a second and then let go.
Okay, you were detained and let go. But in this case, did you have any intention of getting violent with this Antifa group?
No, we never have any intention to get violent. For us, it's about challenging the mayor, challenging these protest groups, and just being able to march. If they attack us, then people definitely do defend themselves. But we've had so many marches and rallies where no one shows up, and it's completely peaceful, and we have a great time.
So what is the goal of your group as we watch this chaotic video? I mean, it looks like a lot of people got hurt. There were batons and mace being used and rocks and bottles being thrown. So, but what is your goal with your protest?
Sure. So it depends on the city and what the mayors do. For example, we went down to Berkeley. We kept on hitting it because the police were standing down. And so the goal is to eventually get the mayor to allow the police to do their job. So from city to city, it changes. And in Portland right now, as you saw a week ago, there were protesters blocking the streets and they're attacking motorists, and the police did nothing about it. So we went back in there. We did a flash march to kind of bring attention to this issue, to put the pressure on Ted Wheeler in hopes that he would actually have some sort of response. So it depends on the situation, but a lot of it's bringing media attention, inspiring other people to stand up for what they believe in, especially in these far left cities.
And a statement was released tonight was it from the mayor or from the police chief? It was from the mayor, Ted Wheeler, who basically said, I'm paraphrasing, that there were a lot of bad people out there. It wasn't just one group that was violent. I mean, it was kind of a little bit murky, but in other words, intimating that your group was part of the problem out there. It wasn't just the Antifa crowd.
Well, I would say I would challenge this. If people don't show up to attack us, there's not going to be any problems. So the goal is we really want to be able to have our right. If you carry an American flag in Portland by yourself, you're going to get bloody. That's the thing that people don't understand. And so until the city makes some changes and the culture makes some changes, free speech isn't truly going to exist in the city until they really make change, especially with the police. And another thing people don't understand is the police have slowly been changing their tactics in Portland, where they used to just stand back completely. They would never intervene. If you look at August 4th, they did do their job. And then even last Saturday, fights broke out that lasted maybe a minute and a half, and then they got everyone separated.
Well,
so I think that...
Yeah, I mean, people should be able to protest and walk with an American flag without being attacked. And I don't like the black masks. I don't like any groups wearing black masks in public. If you want to protest and be there, be identified and be counted. Joey, thanks so much for being here tonight. We'll be following this very closely. And you'd think that Portland's Mayor Ted Wheeler would have noticed what was happening by now, but he's actually pretty supportive of police backing away generally from confronting violent protesters. Former LAPD Detective Mark Furman joins us to react. Mark, you've been seeing this Antifa stuff happening for some time. Now, what kind of message does it send to the people of Portland when their mayor is encouraging cops to kind of stand down and tolerate these violent street protesters and basically leave citizens to fend for themselves?
Well, Laura, it's pretty obvious. You're telling the protesters they now have a venue that they can basically kind of bully the police and know that at the very least there might be a few people arrested, maybe a few skirmishes or altercations with the police, but by and large they're going to be able to do pretty much anything they want.
Well, it seems that this has happened now on multiple occasions. We've heard almost nothing from Democrat leaders about these attacks by these. It's mostly this Antifa group, of course. We saw it in Washington even after we had a protest here recently. We've seen it, of course, as Gibson said, in Berkeley. But not just there. We saw it at these anti-WTO rallies before that. Sometimes at Occupy Wall Street, things broke out. So this has been ramping up over time, Mark, and it seems that police just do not have a good handle on this.
Oh, they have a good handle on it. It's the politicians and the leaders in the upper echelon of police departments and city government that do not allow the line officers. And I'd like to apologize to all the line officers in all these cities. We know it is not you. Your fellow officers, your retired officers, people know it is not you. If you want to actually confront these groups, once they deviate from the policy and the permit guidelines, it is now an unlawful assembly, and then you take action. But Laura, the thing that the cities actually do is they make it impossible for the police to actually do that. They don't give them the absolute manpower and the reserve manpower. They don't give them city buses to transport people they've arrested, set up field jails, and actually have a system where they plan on maybe arresting 100, 200, or 300 people. They want it to go away. They want to hold their breath. They want to hope that there's only a couple altercations and nothing happens and nothing's burned down and nobody's murdered, and then they can sigh. Yeah, but that's what they do.
Yeah, well, I want to
and
play
it's
something.
not the line officers.
You're right. It's not the line officers, and I want to be very clear on that. But the Portland mayor, Wheeler, did speak out And just listen.
I was appalled by what I saw in the video, but I support the decision of the Portland Police Bureau not to intervene. Listen, this whole incident will be investigated.
So he supports the decision not to intervene. Very quickly, close it out for us.
Well, yeah, the idea of not intervening means more officers are going to have their lives and their bodies susceptible to injury or death the next time, because this will escalate. People had guns, people had clubs. You can pass laws in the city of Portland to actually curb this by saying no masks, no disguises, no certain pieces of wood on signs. You can actually curb this. But if you don't want to do that, which the mayor seems to not want to do, then you're going to have more violence. And I really feel sorry for the officers that have to put up with this kind of conduct and have to stand there and do nothing.
I don't know how you recruit officers in this atmosphere that's being created mostly on the left. Mark, thank you so much. And forget about a wall. If the Democrats win, you're going to get a turnstile at the border. Former ICE Director Tom Homan is here next on the coming caravan of migrants and the message behind President Trump's immigration comments on 60 Minutes. According to CBS this morning, the arrests of migrant families at our southern border surged after the Trump administration ended the family separation policy. ICE says the border detention centers are so overwhelmed that most migrants are being processed and then released. Joining us now with his thoughts, Tom Homan, former acting director of ICE. Tom, is a motivating factor for voters this November. How important should the threats of these caravans of migrants be, and how potent would it be as a political issue? It's a national security issue, a humanitarian, economic issue, but it's also a political issue.
It's a huge issue. It should be the biggest issue we're talking about. And I hope the voters are paying attention to what's happening. Because if the Dems take control of the House, this caravan issue is going to happen every week. They're going to keep coming. If there's no consequence, no deterrence to illegal activity, why would it stop? So, President Trump, he has the right ideas. We need the Republicans in Congress to back him up. We need some changes, and we know how to fix this. We just got to have the willpower to fix it. And the Dems don't have the willpower or the want or desire.
So you vote Democrat in November, you essentially guarantee that there will be a continual and nonstop migration of the populations of poor Central American countries through Mexico flowing into the United States, period.
I've been doing this for 34 years. I can guarantee it, yes.
Right now, there's a 38% surge in family, quotation marks, family units crossing our southern border. 38%. Just last month, 130,000 families crossed the borders, our border just this year. 130,000.
Well, why would they stop? There's no consequence, no deterrence. We can't detain them more than 20 days.
Because of the judge, right? Dolly Gee or
right?
G.
And the asylum threshold is so low, Congress they failed to fix that. They failed to fix the Florida settlement agreement saying we can hold them in 20 days. They haven't funded ICE for detention beds. You just said that ICE is running out of beds. ICE asked for 51,000 beds. Congress is giving them 40,000. So they're already saying we're going to give you 10,000 beds less than you need. So we only remove people we detain. 95% of everybody removed comes from a bed. If you get released, you don't show up in court. If you do show up in court, you don't leave to get order removed.
This was Donald Trump on, can we play the 60 Minutes? Do we have time to play that? 60 Minutes. I want to play this really quickly. Yesterday, let's watch.
It's a very deceptive world. The other thing I've really learned is I never knew how dishonest the media was. I really mean it. I'm not saying that as a soundbite. I never knew how dishonest.
I'm going to change the subject again.
Well, no, but even the way you asked me a question, like about separation.
Yeah.
When I say Obama did it, you don't want to talk about it.
No.
When I say I did it, let's make a big deal.
I'm going to run your answer, but you did it 4 times.
I'm just telling you that you treated me much differently on the subject.
I disagree, but I don't want to have that fight with you.
Hey,
it's okay. We're having another fight with you.
Leslie, it's okay. In the meantime, I'm president and you're not.
No, he basically didn't rule out another round of family separations if that's what it takes.
Well, I think the president needs to strongly consider it. I think what we do is get out there tomorrow, way ahead of time, and let them know If you enter this country illegally, after already passing through 2 other countries, I mean, if they're really escaping fear and persecution, they're out of that country already, so claim asylum in Mexico. But if you enter this country illegally, put them on notice right now, we will separate you. Because we separate Americans when they break the law. They should be treated no better. And look, when we separated families a while ago, we did it for 3 weeks. The border crossings went down 20%. If we would have stuck with it for 30 more days, we wouldn't be talking about a caravan today.
And the young kids trafficked in the process, harmed in the process, humanitarian disaster, cartels are enriched, the whole situation. Congress got to do something here. Congress has got to pass immediate turnbacks at the border, get more judges at the border. They have to do immediate turnbacks. And Mexico has got to turn these people away in these caravans. Can't allow it. Tom Homan, thank you so much for your expertise on this. And the president knows what to do. Congress needs to step up. Cherokee Nation tonight issued a statement blasting Senator Elizabeth Warren for essentially using them as a political prop. A member of the Cherokee Nation is here to respond to her directly. Next.
At least 1,000 times remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians. Being Native American has been part of my story, I guess, since the day I was born.
Well, 1,024th of your story, Elizabeth, according to your own DNA test. So how are actual members of the Native American community reacting to Senator Warren's latest political ploy? Joining us now is Rebecca Nagel. She's a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. Rebecca, thanks so much for being here. Now, why is the Cherokee Nation so upset tonight by Warren's DNA reveal?
Well, I think what an important thing for non-Native people to understand is that Native identity is up to Native people. It's not up to a scientist in a lab. It is not up to President Donald Trump's Twitter feed, and it's not up to Elizabeth Warren. You know, we live in a country where most of the non-Native population doesn't understand or know basic information about our identity, about tribal sovereignty, and about our history as Native people. And so these myths that, you know, Native identity can be determined by a DNA test directly undermines our rights as Native Americans and our tribal sovereignty.
Well, what about the whole thing with, we keep playing this soundbite about the high cheekbones? I mean,
I think that's a good
really
point.
Outrageous. I'm sorry, I find that to be an outrageous statement.
During this entire controversy, Elizabeth Warren has relied on stereotypes and popular misconceptions about Native Americans to prop up her false claims. So in 2012 at a press conference, she talked about her relative's high cheekbones. And in 2018, after hordes of Native people have been talking about how DNA tests in no way prove Native heritage or any connection to a Native tribe, she ignored those voices and published those results. I think that her decision shows that she does not listen to Native people and is more concerned about her own political career and her ambitions than tribal sovereignty and Native rights.
Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Up next, Kanye is not done yet.
11 a.m. beer, huh? Well, it's 9 a.m. somewhere.
Kanye isn't done yet. He had a live stream over the weekend, which went largely unnoticed, but some of us watched. And this gem about the Democrats.
They're trying to control our mind. They're trying to control my mind. And when someone tries to tell me what to do, tries to tell me what I can wear and not wear, I feel like they're touching my brain.
Boring he is not. Well, that's all the time we have tonight. I wouldn't attempt to touch Shannon Bream's brain because nobody controls her. Fox News at Night team, and Shannon Bream takes it from here. Shannon, that's a big image.
You had the best interesting nuggets, Laura. We love it.